Hebrews 12 verse 1 reads this, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up. And let us run with endurance the race God has set before us." So I'm going to start this off by just asking, what is that thing that's slowing you down? What's that thing that's slowing your process of getting closer to God? What's that weight that you're holding on your shoulders? Like, you can pause the video to think about what it is, but I really want you to just think in your mind for a second, like, what is that thing that's slowing me down right now? And some of us are like, oh yeah, I know what's slowing me down. I'm not proud of it, but I know what's slowing me down in this process and getting closer to God. And other of us don't know what it is yet, and that's completely okay. But for those that do know what it is, I have some good news for you. God has an answer. In verse 2 it reads, "We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith. Because of the joy awaiting him, he endured the cross, disregarding its shame. Now he is seated in the place of honor beside God's throne." What this is saying is that we need to focus our eyes on Jesus instead of focusing directly on the sin. And it's good and all that you're acknowledging that you want to give it up, but you just need to acknowledge Jesus. What you shouldn't do is you shouldn't get yourself in a scenario to where you're fighting against your flesh. Because whenever you're fighting against your flesh, you already are gonna lose by default. Because our flesh is so weak. It's so weak, but the spirit inside of us is living. So that's why we need to focus our eyes on Jesus. And some of us are saying, like, I know I'm doing this, but like, I keep messing up. Like, I keep falling into this sin repeatedly. And I feel like God is just always disciplining me. He's always trying to help me. And I feel so guilty inside. I feel guilty. I feel ashamed of myself because I keep telling God, I'm going to repent. I'm going to turn away from this. I'm asking for forgiveness. But then I keep on doing the same thing. Listen, God also tells us in Hebrews chapter 12, he says, "My child, don't make light of the Lord's discipline and don't give up whenever he corrects you. For the Lord disciplines those he loves and punishes each one he accepts as his child." And I mean, let's just pause and think for a second. I'm going to relate this into your life. Someone who supports you, your mom, your dad, aunts, uncles, whatever it may be, right? They support you and they'll get mad at you sometimes. They'll start disciplining you. They'll get upset whenever you make the wrong decision in life. And they don't do that because they want to scold you and they want to make fun of you, but they do that because they love you. I'm going to put this example into my life. If I have a basketball game, right? And I do bad in that basketball game, my dad will sit there and it doesn't matter who's looking at me or who's watching. He'll sit there and he'll yell at me. And then afterward, on the way home, he'll continue to yell at me. But listen, he doesn't just yell at me because he's upset that I made the wrong decision. He's yelling at me because he loves me. He wants to see growth, and it's the same exact way with God. Although God may not yell at you like your parents do, God will discipline you. And whenever he disciplines you, he's saying, I'm doing this and I'm telling you the right way and the thing that you should have done because I love you. Not because I hate you and not because I want to embarrass you, but because I love and I care for you and I support you. Listen, a lot of us have shared this same exact experience. I mean, think about it. When we were little, like, you've seen social media, you've seen the memes wherever people will say like, oh, me whenever I was little, and after my parents would yell at me, and then I would start packing up my bag and start packing up my teddy bear and my favorite clothes because I want to move out. I want to get out of this place because my parents just screamed at me. You've seen that. But listen, God says don't pack up. Whenever you are being disciplined by someone, by an adult, by God, he's saying don't pack up, don't give up on me. It's a lesson. It's a part of the process. Because like I said, that discipline is not out of hatred towards you, but it's out of love. It's out of someone who wants to see you grow and become someone that you want to be in life. He wants you to see you achieve all of your goals. But you can't do that if you don't seek first the kingdom. You won't be able to not pack up if you don't seek Jesus, if you don't focus on Jesus instead of focusing on the sin.